find your way home within yourself. If you're looking outside of yourself, if you're following someone else or something else or someone else's teaching, know that there are teachings that are just as important, that are written in your DNA and written within you, that need to be expressed into this world so that humanity can find its way to a greater harmony. Since my NDE, the things that have been revealed to me, especially in the last couple of years, about humanity and about where we might be going as a humanity, I think the message is important. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mia. First, I want to thank you for allowing me to come and be a part of your program. Um, my name is James Newman, and I live in the eastern part of the United States. And my NDEs happened in 2000, and since then, my life has evolved in a way that I never expected. Things that have been revealed to me about who we are as a humanity and who we are as soul. And the work that I do now from wisdom that was shared with me during my NDEs is to assist people in finding that place of home within themselves, finding the reality of who they are beyond their culture, their language, any of those things, so that they can see the reality of who we are. Sure. I had two of them within about a 3-week period of time. And I was living in Hawaii, the Big Island, and I was very ill. I had a bone marrow disease that they thought was leukemia, but it wasn't. It was something else. Um, and I was homeless at that time. Due to the events of my life, I had lost my way. I just didn't know. I couldn't figure things out. The world was just a very confusing place because I could see beyond this physical world, and yet I would speak to people, and it was as if I was talking to the wall. And so, in my first NDE, I experienced a rebirth, and that rebirth came from the belly of a mother whale. And while I was in that NDE state, having left my body, I received a world of wisdom that assisted me in clearing a lot of the old beliefs that I had, a lot of the old fears that I had. The first thing I experienced in that NDE state was just this immenseness of something surrounding me. And I couldn't understand exactly what it was, but the feeling that came to me was the movement. And I literally then could see myself being born into the water of the Pacific Ocean, there where I was living. And I could feel the warmth and the love and the immenseness of a maternal love that I had never experienced in my life before. Because as a child, I was adopted into a situation that was very, very challenging. And this first NDE experience assisted in clearing that all away so that I could finally feel in my life what it was like to know the love of a mother. And not only did I feel the love of a mother, but I felt the wisdom that came with it. I felt all of the things that needed to be felt to create a stronger foundation within myself about who I was and where I came from and the reality of who we are. And that was the first experience. And then that was a shorter experience. Um, it was significant to the following NDE because I needed to have all of that old energy cleared away because it's what blinded me from being able to really see the things that I could receive and hear, um, and be aware of from beyond the physical world. And about 3 weeks later, I was finally hospitalized for the bone marrow disease that I had. And when I got into the hospital, that's when they told me that they thought I had leukemia, but the diagnosis was inconclusive. And I just remember being in the hospital and feeling like I was more on that other side, beyond the physical world than present here. Because I would have people come into the room and I could hear them and I could interact with them, but I didn't feel like I was present there. And then finally came the moment of transition when I transitioned from my body. And the first thing that I became aware of was the feeling like I was in a train station, like a subway station. I knew that it was a place where I had come to receive something, but that I wasn't going to stay. I knew from the very moment I arrived that I was making a connection to go somewhere else. And during that time that I was there in the train station, everything was the same blue as the ocean in the Pacific. It was this beautiful, calming, peaceful place. And I could see what I imagined to be other life forms, like the outline of a form of human beings walking and moving through the train station just like I was. And I was shown that those two were having the same experience. And this was in 2005. And I was shown where I was. I was shown the immediate world around me. And even as if I was sitting in the train station, then another layer of me came out and just was able to observe everything that was going on. And at that time, it began a revelation, a revealing of the details of why we came here, how and why the universe was created, and that the focus of the universe was Earth here, and for the human experience, and for us to come as soul and come into these bodies and gather wisdom, but by experiencing all of the things that we agreed to experience before we came here. The second NDE is the one where I feel like I'm in a train station. And from that place, there were all of the dynamics of the universe being shown to me. There were things about the interconnectedness of all things, how there is a golden thread of light that is sown through all things. And then at a certain moment, I was being shown how when we form beliefs, such as like taking a picture of something or a piece to a puzzle, when we form beliefs about something, we actually cut that interconnected light between us, because each region of the world then starts to form different beliefs and what they call different truths, and in reality none of those are real. They are just images. They are if you can imagine that the universe is a 5 billion-piece puzzle, beliefs and truths are created through the view of only 100 of those pieces. So we're seeing a very small amount of calling that truth, or calling that real, or calling it, referring to it as a belief, when in reality there is so much more. And the two things that were most important that I was shown were that as a soul, we held awareness of all that is in this physical world and beyond this physical world, and showing the importance of connecting with the soul self, because as you and I speak, and as that most people speak in the world, we speak through the brain, through the mind, and that is where the ego resides. So the ego creates the filters of beliefs and truths that actually end up filtering out the full reality of who we are. And if we come into the place within ourselves where we connect with our soul self, then we see the reality because we see the full picture. And that was one of the most important things. And the other was how deeply we are loved by Source, by all that is, that there is not one of us that isn't a part of that deep, profound, unconditional love. And so that I could do the work that I do today, there was a voice that was showing me all of the dynamics of the universe and our reason for being here. And also, there was this voice, kind of secondary voice saying, now remember how this feels. Because the important thing was to remember the vibration and how to return to that vibrational state, so that I myself could utilize that gift that we all have within us to vibrationally align with my soul. It's how I do all the painting work that you see here. And remembering how it feels vibrationally bypasses the limitations of the mind, so that we can see the full picture, because the mind, the will itself, is only able to see a very small part of what is there. A message for mankind is that each one of us holds an immense gift. And that gift can be in the form of art, it can be in the form of verbal expression, it can be in the form of new awareness. And I mean, there are so many things that are so beyond the mind, the physical mind and its experience. And it's so important now for us to find harmony as a humanity, that each one of us find our way calm within ourselves and find that place where those gifts can be expressed from. In my own experience in my life, from childhood, I was connected to that world beyond physical, and I could feel it, but I did not have words to explain what it was. And after my NDE, my two experiences in 2005, I was then able to give words to the experiences I was having. And it was only more in the very recent years that I was able to see that every one of the experiences of my life gave me the opportunity to receive this wisdom that I had agreed upon to come here and receive. So my message to the world is, find your way home within yourself. If you're looking outside of yourself, if you're following someone else or something else or someone else's teaching, know that there are teachings that are just as important, that are written in your DNA, and written within you that need to be expressed into this world so that humanity can find its way to a greater harmony. Well, that transition has already started. The pieces of that transition were started. There is a piece to the puzzle. I want to be very careful how I express this because um, the egoic mind wants to step in and add things that aren't necessary. But here in the United States, we just had an election. And in that election, there was a shock at the result of the presidential election. And what I can tell you about that is the election was divinely orchestrated to create the result that was created so that this shock could take place and that a transformation could begin. Because in humanity, we have had many, many experiences and opportunities. The soul that chose to come in 2,000 years ago chose to come in and take on a physical body with the sole purpose of showing us who we are so that we could see ourselves, was given the name Jesus Christ or Yeshua. And Jesus came and did what people call miracles, and did healing, and did so many things. But never did Jesus intend for Christianity to be formed due to the events of his journey. We had many others come to try and show us who we are, and it didn't work. The egoic self ended up distorting the story and distorting the situation into a situation that kept us trapped there. So in more recent times, we've had events like the world wars that have existed. We've had people like Hitler that came to the world to show us who we are, to create such a delusional dynamic and tell people lies and just insane things to see if it would wake them up. And it didn't, because the majority of the people that were there in his presence believed the stories that he told, and it just created deeper conflict. So, fast forwarding to where we are right now, this event of our election here in the United States has set in motion the possibility once again for humans to awaken to the reality of who we really are. And what's so important to understand is that everything that comes and occurs in this world is of the light. There is no such thing as darkness. Only the ego would see something as darkness. When something comes that challenges us, it challenges us to teach us. And if we see that as darkness, we only choose then to see a small amount of the pieces of the puzzle of the events. And in that, we do not see the reality of the whole of itself. So, the events that have occurred here in the United States and in other places in the world are a sign that the shift has begun. And the other signs of the shift beginning is the change in our earth, because just as we as souls agreed to come here and have the experiences we've had and have the opportunity through free will to choose how to see these events, our Mother Earth made an agreement with us as well, because she is a soul. She agreed to be this home, to be this place where we could come into this body and have a home that would provide everything that we needed. And she had also come to the end of that paradigm. Her agreement with Thoth is completed. So our Mother Earth herself is transforming and changing. And this isn't something that's being done as a destructive means. You know, we see in the news every once in a while that another species have gone extinct, or there is this or that transformation in the world. Well, that's happening by divine orchestration, because to allow the new to come to us, we have to release the old. And it's not, we cannot receive the new. And that's why looking back is never a way to move forward. You can't drive your car forward by looking in the rearview mirror. You must be where you are now and receive the wisdom that is here and now. So as our Mother Earth begins and continues in her transformation, we are given the same opportunities to rise, to raise our vibration as well. And it's important for people to know that we will only witness or experience what we are vibrationally aligned with. Meaning, if we choose to stay in an old vibration, the transformation, we will see it as something horrific, because we're looking at it from the old way. And in this transformational time, we have to let go of all of that so we can see what's here now. We can see within ourselves, and this is why it's so important to see it from the perspective of the soul, because the soul only knows this now moment, and only knows the reality as being right here and now. We cannot change what happened before. We cannot change what may be of another time, because those are both illusions. Our only power of transformation exists right here and now. And so our Mother Earth is changing and transforming. We are being given this opportunity to transform, and not everyone will receive that invitation. Not everyone will accept that opportunity for transformation and change. There will be those who will choose to stay behind, and they will then live out their experience here on the old earth, that the paradigms that are dying and the crumbling will allow for, while there will be others of us who will align with the transformation of Mother Earth, with the coming of the star beings, the interplanetary beings that are here to assist us. Many people ask, well, why can't we see them, or why don't they reveal themselves? They're everywhere around us. They're all around us, but because we hold beliefs that we can't see them, we don't. That belief that we hold, that they aren't already here, or they aren't already doing what it is they're doing, is what keeps us from seeing them, and why it's so important to let go of the old ways. Because then when we do, we open that window so that we can see the reality that is already here for us. So a lot of transformation is taking place, and that's the you know, like I said, there are things that are occurring that are destructive in the world, but they're destructive for a reason, because the old needs to be cleared away so that the new can reveal itself to us, because there isn't any other way. Because if we keep looking back and keep looking to the old, we will never see what is here now. Well, the weather is just a sign of Mother Earth's transformative energy. You know, when she brings a storm or a flood, she brings it to clean. She brings it to cleanse other things away. And I know that it's hard to imagine that because life is rough. You know, people die. But I can tell you that just as I have chosen the path that I've chosen, you have chosen your path, everyone has chosen their path. Those who came in as souls knew that one day they would leave, as an example, they would leave this world in a flood. So nothing is a disaster. Nothing is meant to be seen as from the eyes of, oh, their victim, because that's the ego. The floods that come to cleanse. The water comes to cleanse. Same with storms, with wind. Wind comes to blow things away that no longer serve for being there. We as humans think as soon as the storm is over that we have to rebuild. And we usually rebuild in the way that things were. And so the weather transformation is just the sign of our Mother Earth transforming and raising her vibration. And for her to raise her vibration, she must clear old things away and old ways of mind by letting go. Letting go of how they think things should be. Letting go of how we think that the biggest, even the teachings of Buddhism tell a story that the longest journey that the human will ever take is leaving the mind and coming into the heart. So becoming aware, and this is all of our greatest challenges is letting go. When we see something like a flood or a storm happening, we become afraid because we think we might die. We think we might leave this world. When in reality, we came already with that departure plan. We may have free will, and we may choose different roads and different ways to walk through this journey. But we already knew when we came, when we would leave, and what that would look like. And in that awareness, we agreed to come and experience that, so that others could see the reality. So the preparation, I would say, is let go of the fear. Because having had a transitional experience, I can tell you that leaving this world is no different than walking through a doorway. It's no more painful. It's no more dramatic. Than literally just walking through a doorway. It's that gentle. Because when it is our time to transition from this world, I don't use the word death because death depicts an end, and there is no end. There's no end to the flow of a river. It just keeps flowing. And when we transition from this world, we continue on, and we continue in an actually more expansive expression of ourselves. But right now, because our Earth is coming into a more expansive expression of herself, our Mother Earth, we are being given the opportunity to see how to also become more expansive in this physical form, because different from what most people believe, these physical bodies do not have limitations. Anyone who has been through what is called an NDE, or a transitional experience, by a car accident or by illness, a very well-known person in this NDE world is Anita Morjani. Her whole body was eaten up by cancer, and she had severe forms of lymphoma and other forms of cancer and tumors and things all over her body. And you would think, well, how would she come back? How would she come back from that? But she is living and well and healthy, because when we change our beliefs, when we let go of old beliefs and see the reality of who we are, that vibration then becomes what guides the health of the body. And when that new vibration came in, all of the cancer left. because as I said earlier, you can only experience what you are vibrationally aligned with. So to prepare, I would say, learn the vibration of your own soul and align with the view that the soul holds of the events of our lives. And in that, you will know that everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to, so that we can continue to move forward as a humanity.